I cycle through like the same 3 blue shirts in my videos. I don't know if anyone notices, but I wear the same thing every single video. I just like wearing blue, so sorry, I guess. Hey guys, my name's Angus, and today I'm going to be going through my reading stats for February 2021, as well as wrapping up everything that I read last month. So I read quite a bit last month, considering it's the shortest month. I read a lot for me. Like, I think this is the most I've ever read in a month. So it's going to be interesting to see how that compares to last month. I'm just gonna stop talking. I'm gonna get straight into the graphs and just have a look at how my reading's changed since January. Okay, so I read 11 books and a total of 3,713 pages this month, which brings my total for the year to 19 books, putting me, as of March 1st, 3 books ahead of my reading goal, which is amazing. I don't know how I'm doing this, and I'm gonna slip up real soon, just you wait. In February, I read 10 fiction books and only 1 non-fiction book, which I'm not really happy with. It was a goal of mine this year to read more non-fiction books, and I'm definitely slacking there. I definitely want to boost those numbers. In comparison to last month, that's definitely a drop in the ratio. As you can see, over a third of the books I read last month were non-fiction, so I need to work on that for March. My average star rating in February was 3.91 stars. I read 1 2.5 star book, 1 3-star book, 2 3.5 star books, 4 4-star books, 1 4.5 star book, and 2 5-star books. Compared to last month, my average star rating is up by like 0.28% overall. So I read slightly more enjoyable books this month, but I definitely had a lot more in the 4 to 5-star range than last month, which is really great. In terms of genre, my biggest genres were young adult at 28.5%, historical fiction at 21.5%, thrillers at 14.3%, and contemporary at 14.1%. Comparably, I read about the same ratio of young adult and thriller books last month. They were both pretty steady and stayed as my number 1 and number 3 most read genre for both months, respectively. Everything else shifted quite a bit, which I kind of expected based off my different reading habits. Page number wise, I chose to read mostly medium-paced books between 300 and 499 pages in length. I didn't read any books over 500 pages this month, which definitely hindered my total page count. I read 65% between 300 and 499 pages, and 45% of books under 300 pages. Compared to January, overall, I read about the same number of mid-length books, but quite differently in the other 2 length categories. Also interesting to note, I read more medium-paced books this month compared to last month when I read more fast-paced books. In terms of reading moods, this month my books were 28% emotional, 22% reflective, 16% mysterious, 15% dark, 12% adventurous, and 10% informative. Comparably, in January, I also read books that were dark, reflective, mysterious, and emotional in a different capacity, so they seem to be the biggest moods that I'm seeking out in my reading, which is interesting to know. And finally, here's my monthly reading habits graph. I read quite a lot more this month, as you can see. It is interesting to note, though, that while I read more books in February, the page count is quite similar. There's only like 500 page difference, and I read like 3 more books. So it's definitely, by choosing to read slightly shorter books, my total page count was affected. Alrighty, so those are my reading stats for February 2021. Now I'm going to go through and talk about all the books that I read. So the first book we have to talk about is The Black Kids by Christina Hammonds Reed. This is a YA contemporary that follows a wealthy black family during the 1992 Rodney King riots and how it affected them, being in the center of that. I thought it was really grounded, and I felt like I was reading about teenagers. Like I felt like I could feel their voice coming through, which is often not the case for me with YA contemporaries. Like it just doesn't feel right, but this just felt so right. Also, because it was set during the 90s, the author could really grasp that time period and what we expected from teens. I don't know, it just worked really well. But more importantly, this is a really thought-provoking read about race, class, identity, and police brutality. And it's grounded in a really, really horrific historical event. I think that just really resonated for me, and I really enjoyed it, and I found it really, really informative. I gave this one 4 stars. The next book I read is The Gilded Ones by Namina Fauna. This is really shiny. It's the art cover. I've ordered myself the hardcover copy. I'm really excited to get it because I love this book. I loved it so much. This is a new YA fantasy series about on your, I think it's 15th or 16th birthday, you have to partake in this ritual where you are cut, and if you bleed red, you're pure, but if you bleed gold, you're treated like demon spawn pretty much. It's pretty horrible. So our main character bleeds gold, and then she's doomed pretty much, but she's offered an out when she's scouted to join the Emperor's army of like women who are all in the same boat. So yeah, she has an out and she goes, but things aren't as they seem. I went to this book thinking I was going to be so bored because I've just been so out of YA fantasy, but I absolutely loved it. I gave this 5 stars. It's just really excited me to read on. Like I can't wait to see where this series goes. And interestingly enough, I found it funny. Like some of the characters, some of the one-liners were really, really fun and just really well crafted, really cinematic. I can see this being a movie already. Really, really good. Yeah. The next book I read is The Project by Courtney Summers, and this is marketed as like a YA thriller. However, I don't really agree that that's what it is. The project revolves around this cult masquerading as a religious organization and 2 estranged sisters' dual involvement in this cult. Yeah, as I said, it's marketed as a thriller, but I found it more of like a general fiction. There was nothing really thrilling about it to me. It was very speculative and had like some really thought-provoking elements to it about like emotional manipulation and gaslighting, but overall I don't see it as a thriller. I did enjoy it, but it was nothing of what I wanted it to be. I think I ended up giving this 3.5 stars. Bit of a weird one for me. I just feel like it could have gone in a much darker and more thrillery tone if that's what they wanted it to be. It just felt like a one-act twist that I guessed from the beginning as well. So yeah. The next book I read was More Happy Than Not by Adam Silvera, and I drew this one out from my TBR jar last month. This was like my last Adam Silvera book to draw out of the jar, so of course I got it on my first go this year. But I was actually pleasantly surprised with this one. It was very typical 2015 YA emo. It's grounded in a really authentic own voice from Adam Silvera, and it definitely got to me. I definitely felt attached and I definitely was invested in this story. It just really was a product of its time. There's something about Adam Silvera's writing style that I just can't gel with. I think I ended up giving this 3 stars. I enjoyed it. It's probably one of my favorites of his, but not my cup of tea. Alrighty, the next book I read was The Murder Between Us by Tal Bauer. I think that's how you pronounce it. I had to read this one because I drew out a prompt for my reading prompt jar last month to read a self-published book. So I picked this one because it sounded interesting. It's basically a gay thriller revolving around a serial killer murder mystery. However, I just felt like this book was 80% sexual tension and 20% actual murder mystery solving. Like that was just kind of the backdrop for this love story, which was really fun and sexy, but I came for the murder mystery. I didn't come for the romance, okay? Maybe it's my fault for picking this one, but I feel like it was marketed to me as a thriller, but it was more of just like a gay, lusty story. I enjoyed it. I think I gave it 2.5 stars. Yeah, it is what it is. Like, it was fun. The next book I read was Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. Someone did tell me how to pronounce this, but I've forgotten. I think it's Crichton. Michael Crichton. I'm going to say, go with that. This is obviously, it's a misbound damaged copy I just snagged from work. But this book is so much more thrilling than the movie. I actually enjoyed it a lot. I really, really enjoyed this. There's something about 90s thrillers that really gets me going. Just that period and thrillers. It's just like something. I know the science behind this is just like completely inaccurate, but I enjoyed suspending my disbelief for 400 pages and just having fun. Like, this man is a really good writer, and I do want to read his other stuff because I've heard really good things. Like, he's like an upmarket, much better Dan Brown. So I will do that. But I had a really fun time reading this. I think I gave it 4 stars. So if you're looking for something just like a fun 90s thriller, it's really good. Even though I'd seen the movie so many times, I still enjoyed reading this. The next book I read is The Good Turn by Dervin McTiernan. I just need to stop raving about this series, but I love it so much. This is the 3rd book in the Cormac Riley detective series. They're just so good, guys. Like, if you like gritty urban crime set in Ireland, amazing, fantastic. I enjoy all of these. They just get better as you go along. This one in particular deals with corruption within the police force itself. And I just love our lead character. He's so much fun. He's so grumbly, but it's really fun. I don't know what it is, but really great cast of characters and really superb plotting and writing. Like, this woman, I will eat up anything this woman writes. I give this one 5 stars, of course. The next book I read was The Liar's Dictionary by Ellie Williams. I read this one with my friend Eleanor. We did a buddy read and we both ended up in the same boat. We were both super excited by the premise of this book. It's about like montweasels, which are like fake words put in dictionaries to like safeguard around copyright. And it's set between 2 time periods of like the guy putting them into the dictionary and then the intern in the future having to find them and take them out. And it was really fun to start with. Like, I really enjoyed the humor, but it just went nowhere. And I was really disappointed with the ending. So I think I gave this one 3.5 stars. I enjoyed it enough for the writing style and the fun premise, but just seemed a little bit pointless. An odd one. Really well written though, which you'd expect from a book with dictionary in the title. So the next book I read, another book with dictionary in the title, The Dictionary of Lost Words. I actually I had this on my TBR like sometime last year. I told you guys I was going to read it and I never did. It was good to finally pick it up. I picked this up right off the back of the other dictionary book, funnily enough. I don't know why this wasn't on my TBR, but yeah, this was much better. So beautifully written, such great lovable characters. This is set during the creation of the Oxford Dictionary, like the original Oxford Dictionary, and it's from the POV of the daughter of one of the lexicographers working on the dictionary, and she like steals all the rejected words and starts her own dictionary of lost words. That's like the setup, and we just go from there, and it's like this lifelong tale across like generations, and it's really slow but really rewarding. Like sometimes you need a slow book, and this was just like perfect for me in between like a few different books, so I really enjoyed this. I gave this 4 stars. It's only published in Australia at the moment, I think, but I'm pretty sure it's coming out in the US and the UK fairly soon. If you like books about dictionaries, or even if you don't, like it's just really fun. Alrighty, the second last book I have to show you is The Inheritors by Hannah Law Kerr, and this was actually the first book I read last month. The author of this is French, so this is a translation. Her first book, The Godmother, I absolutely loved. It's a really, really fun crime thriller story about a grandma who becomes like involved in crime circles and drug dealing. It's fun though. She's really fun. She's a really fun, snarky main character. This is completely different. This follows like 2 casts of characters from 2 generations of the same family. It's not a crime fiction, it's just general fiction, but it's really well written and really beautifully translated. Just a fun short story about inheriting stuff from the past. Like, I don't want to give it away, but a little bit pointless, but fun. I think I gave it some 4 stars. I just enjoyed it, weirdly. Alrighty, and the last book that I read last month was the only non-fiction book I read, The Art of Screen Adaptation by Alastair Owens. This is like a collection of interviews with famous screenwriters on their craft, and this book just made me so excited to keep writing screenplays. So if any book does that, I think it's worth my while, and I think it's worth your while too if you're a writer. So if you're a screenwriter, it's just really like inspiring to hear people's process, how they did it, and like the fact that they did it is really cool. I don't know, like I just enjoyed it. Every time I read, because there's like little sections from each screenwriter, after each section I was like, wow, now I want to write a story about this, or wow, now I want to write a screenplay about this. And I just think that's so great. Like if your book can do that, then you're winning. Oh yeah, I gave that one 4 stars. Okay, and those are all the books that I read last month. This is definitely the most I've ever read in any month, and February is the shortest month, so I don't know, that's kind of cool. I'll definitely be slacking in March, I can tell you that now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you with my TBR reaping draw out thingy in the video in the next few days, hopefully, if I can get it edited. But yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.